The Dalmatian Coast. This ride took me along the sparkling shores of the Adriatic, from the quiet rhythm of island roads to the rush of busy coastal highways, through historic towns and ancient landmarks, between blue waters and the mighty Dinaric Alps, through serene forests and past thundering waterfalls, through ancient farm paths and winding up and over dramatic mountains. From Croatia and into Herzegovina, discovering all the timeless magic of this region. But before all that, I had just surpassed 20,000 kilometers of total cycling. That's halfway around the world. And to celebrate, it was finally time for some things to change. And so, I bought new shoes. I had spent a few days in Zadar, resting and waiting out a storm. With the skies finally clear once more, it was time to move. Before leaving the city, I stopped at the coast to hear the famous sea organ. Hidden beneath these steps, 35 pipes let the Adriatic compose its own music. As waves push air through the pipes, they create an endless and ever-changing melody. Looking back at the coastal mountains, snow-capped nearly down to the shoreline, I knew I'd made the right call to skip that last exposed section of coast. Arriving to the Zadar Archipelago on the island of Ugljan, I set off on rural roads, traversing the island following the Eurovelo 8 route, enjoying the peaceful solitude. I reached the end of the island quickly, crossing the 210-meter Zdrelac bridge onto the next island of Pajman. Past picturesque coastal villages and along seaside gravel, I enjoyed the brief stint on island time. Soon enough, I was at the end of the archipelago and caught a ferry back to the mainland. On a blissful country road riding into a blue dusk, I set off on a short push inland to the shores of Lake Vrana to rest. This beautiful lake is an important wildlife habitat and nature preserve, and the largest lake in Croatia. The storms here seemed to be inescapable. Wind howled as rain pelted down. Not wanting to take another rest day so soon, I took the only reasonable option, embracing the dampness and pushing on south down the coast. Well, it's raining! On and off again rains fell through the morning, but eventually ceased. With the skies clearing, I found myself riding on gravel lanes between hand-built stone walls. The art of dry stone walling has thrived in Croatia for centuries, perhaps millennia. Generations of farmers have sorted rocks from the soil to delineate land use, create arable plots, and protect them from the wind. The maze of walls expands seemingly endlessly along the Adriatic coast here, and it was quite awe-inspiring to cycle between these walls of history. After the wonderful detour away from busy roads, I crossed the Šibenik Bridge over the Krka River and rode highway down into Šibenik, a charming port city located in a protected bay at the mouth of the Krka River. This city has been continuously inhabited since the 11th century, and in the late 19th century, it became the first city in the world to have alternating current-powered streetlights. A quick ride along bayside promenades brought me out of the city once more. Enjoying the pleasant early March air and the empty sights, I soon was back on the highway and crossing the Marinja Bridge. From the cliffs next to the bridge, I gazed out at the island of Krpanj, just 300 meters off the coast, This is one of the smallest and lowest elevation inhabited islands in the Adriatic, with a rich history and culture, and was an impressive sight to see from the mainland.
Whoa!
Finally, my day's goal was in sight. The Ostrica Peninsula stretched out into the Adriatic, with an incredible 300-meter-long defensive wall guarding its neck. I reached the peninsula in time to watch the sun set over the Adriatic, and gazed in wonder at the spectacular wall I'd come here to see. Constructed in the late 15th century, this wall served as a defense of the peninsula, where locals could take shelter from Ottoman raids. For a couple centuries, this wall succeeded in its purpose, before eventually falling into irrelevance and disrepair. Now significantly restored, the wall protects a vast area of the peninsula as a nature reserve, hunting ground, and popular hiking spot. The unique site was well worth a visit. I wound my way up from the coast, sweeping around the curves of peaceful hills, the shimmering blue waters of the Adriatic laid out below. The Eurovelo route followed back roads through to another long section of quiet gravel and scenic views, and I was incredibly happy to soak it all in and enjoy a relaxed pace through the countryside. Quiet pavement brought me back down to the highway, where I settled in for the final push to the city of Split to spend the night. This city was originally settled by the Greeks in the 3rd century BCE, and is now the largest city in Dalmatia and the second largest in Croatia. Morning brought drizzly gray skies and a serene atmosphere to the seemingly quiet city. As blue skies slowly returned, I was off along bike paths out of the city, the vibrant waters of the Adriatic sparkling beside me. The designated Eurovelo route here cut behind the first ridge of mountains from the coast, but I opted to cycle along the sea for this short section. The views were absolutely spectacular, but even at this time of year, I found the coastal road to be too traffic heavy for my liking. At the port town of Omis, I turned inland, riding between towering karst cliffs, following the course of the Cetina River upstream on peaceful roads. I was back on the Eurovelo 8 once more, and quickly found that this road was closed to traffic due to some minor landslide damage. Thankfully, being on a bicycle allowed me the freedom to easily slip through and avoid the damaged sections, while enjoying a beautiful traffic-free ride into the evening. The serenity of nights like this is an absolute treasure to experience. After a blissful time watching clouds roll over the mountains and some switchbacking through the hills, I found myself back at the Cetina River. There are several rafting outfitters here that I'd heard would allow camping, but with all of them closed and deserted for the season, I opted to camp here anyways for the night, of course leaving no trace, and sleeping to the sounds of the river babbling softly close by. Morning mist hung gently over the river, and as the sun crested over the hills, I found myself in a landscape of serene beauty. Climbing up a short pass in the crisp morning air, I made it back to the coast, cruising down the highway towards some of the most spectacular scenery of Dalmatia. Here, the Biokovo mountain range towers above the sea. This is the second highest range in Croatia, and the imposing karst hills stand massive and mighty. Through pleasant forest, past stunning beaches, and alongside a fantastic seaside gravel path known as the Caminita Cesta, I traversed alongside the Adriatic, relishing in the last moments I'd spend for now in Dalmatia. In the town of Makarska, I left the coast of Dalmatia and began the climb up road D512. I'd found this route while mapping my way inland and was beyond excited for what could be one of the most scenic sections of road I'd traveled yet. Winding up through forest, the road slowly opened up, hugging the side of the mountains, with sweeping views of the sea below, and the hills still towering above. What a place, absolutely unreal. This was easily one of the most scenic climbs I'd ever tackled. The road clung to the edge of the mountain between steep walls of limestone, an improbable feat of human engineering in this near-vertical world. Beyond the crest of the pass, 600 meters above sea level, the road began to gently slope downhill, and I reveled in 12 kilometers of spectacular descent en route to Herzegovina. Another blissful short climb on nearly finished under-construction road brought me past the town of Vrgorac, and out to sweeping views of the Herzegovinian countryside as I cycled onwards to the border crossing. I'm on my way to the official border crossing to Bosnia, but right now, left side of the road right here, that drop off, that's Bosnia, and everything down there. What a beautiful evening. After 87 continuous days in the Schengen zone, I was finally going through another passport control. I handed my passport to the border officer with a happy hello, and he passed it back with a cheerful smile and a proud statement of, "Hello, kitty." And with that, I had entered into the Herzegovina region of Bosnia and Herzegovina. A short ride into the night brought me to the town of Ljubuski, where I climbed up the local hill to spend the night camped near a paragliding launch spot, with a spectacular view back on the town and the surrounding countryside. Sunrise cast light onto the imposing Ljubuski fortress, set on the hilltop. This 15th century stronghold sits on top of a jagged ridge and was once a vital defense against Ottoman invasion. A quick, peaceful ride brought me to the incredible Kravica Waterfall. This stunning waterfall in the Trebizond River rises 25 meters high, with a total width of the curtained cascade extending 120 meters. Early in the morning at this time of year, I was lucky enough to have the entire area to myself, and I stopped for a while to enjoy the beauty of the falls and the lush mosses and lichens that adorn the cliffs. What an impressive spectacle this was to witness at the height of spring melt. Across the countryside, I traveled along idyllic back roads, enjoying views of snow-capped mountains and quiet villages. On the final descent down into Mostar, I turned off just before reaching the city, climbing to the top of the small Mount Hum. Here I spent a few hours admiring the view as dusk faded into night and the city sparkled below. With darkness upon me, I freewheeled back downhill and into the city of Mostar.